agitation for self-determination or self-independence. The Scotland where I live in, they are still agitating. They had a referendum a few years back, and they are still is one of the primary items in the manifesto of Scottish National Party (SNP). Yeah. So it's legal everywhere for as long as you are doing it the right way and the legal way.
Nigeria is a lawless society, and sometimes it surprises me that when it comes to IPOB, suddenly Nigeria becomes a lawful society.
So you cannot base any agitation on illegality. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been in prison. Somebody can get up that in that prison and say, because I don't like your face, and kill you. I won't support that. Yeah, what I won't support is illegality.
How can Nigeria, that convicted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for belonging to a terrorist organization, so-called, fail to convict Mazi Chike Edoziem for belonging to the same organization?
I'm not taking any position. The questions I'm asking today are the questions. If you go to our comment section, these are the questions that have been raised there. When it involves my followers, I'll take it personal. So early 1967, I think it was in January, there was the Aburi Accord.
The problem Nigeria has is problem of leadership and the people there, both southeast, south-south, southwest, northeast, north central, or whatever. It's the people there who are running the affairs of the things. If we have a strong governance, strong leadership in the southeast, in the southeastern states, I think the federal government will be the one to come to be negotiating with us. You don't go about chasing butterfly. If you make your garden beautiful, butterflies will come to your garden. We don't have any negotiating power, any negotiating capacity. We don't have that strategy. We have not built that capacity to go and negotiate for distance. But we want it to be given to us. IPOB has no manifesto on ground.
It doesn't need to have a manifesto. IPOB has a code of conduct, and its aim is simple: to actualize a sovereign state of Biafra through self-determination. It is not a political party that you will expect it to give you a manifesto. No movement that is dedicated to the actualization of self-determination for its people has a manifesto. In Imo State, for instance, the people did not choose the governor. The governor was imposed on them.
Goes to Abuja to wave Tinubu when he's going for his medical treatment in France.
Nigeria controls the southeast, so it doesn't allow the will of the people to happen. People do not know that what actually led to Biafra breaking out was the crisis between Akintola and Awolowo.
This current president was the governor of Lagos State. His allocation was withheld. He never went to Abuja.
You know very well that in Lagos, they could almost hold you the way they will hold you on the street to take money off your pocket.
Yes. They have not even had any encounter with the federal government to make them to go and bow to them. They willingly on their own submitted to go and bow every month.
Welcome again to Glasscast Podcast. Your podcast, my podcast, our podcast, where we would usually, as you would expect, bring you those analyses and informative discussions that will trigger your instinct to conduct certain research and come up with suggestions that will enhance further conversation. And on this note, I want to welcome you once again to this special episode. But before we start, I want to say a big thank you for every one of you that have been supportive of what we do here, especially you, our follower, our subscriber, and those that encourage us, even from behind, to do more of what we are doing, to bring out those conversations, those that give us ideas about topics that we need to delve into. You are part of what we do here, and we must appreciate your contribution to Glasscast Podcast. Specifically, there are a few organizations who has been supportive of what we are doing as well. We want to start by saying a big thank you to ROREM. ROREM is a well-established international organization. And I will tell you, if you are watching this program today and you are planning to travel for Christmas to Nigeria or anywhere around the world, and you want to do your airpiece booking, ROREM is your best solution. And we also have Ambio. Ambio is also into international cargo shipping and freight forwarding. Reach out to them. Their contacts, their flyers are always on our page. If you look down here, you will see their flyers. Reach out to them for your cargo solutions and for your air ticket booking. We also have the Naomi Winter wellness group that are supporting individual wellness, holistic well-being, and all that. So these are people that have been part of what we do here. And I must tell you the last one, because when we finish here, we are going somewhere to eat some nice, delicious food, and with the support of Amaka Healthy Kitchen, who has been part of what we do here, providing their support. If you want that delicious food, if you want to learn how to cook and how to make nice food, Amaka's Healthy Kitchen is where you need to be. And we want to encourage every one of you. If you want to support what we do here, you are very much welcome. Reach out to us. Our email is up there, our telephone numbers, and every of our comment sections, we leave them open so that you have that opportunity to engage with us. Talking about engaging, this week we have been releasing some episodes about the activities of the Organization for the Actualization of the Sovereign State of Biafra. We are talking of the IPOB and their activities. And there has been, discussions about certain declarations that were made prior to the Civil War of 1967 in Nigeria, and other declarations that were made during those process. And we have had your commentaries, and based on that, we have brought in again the Mazi of Glasscast podcast to give us further insight based on the subjects that are raised in those episodes. Mazi, what do you want to say to our followers, our listeners, and especially those that have been commenting about the recent episode we released about, on the actualization of sovereign state of Biafra by the IPOB?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, our esteemed followers. Thank you very much for your comments, your likes, your shares. Please, I will ask that you stay with us for more episodes. Thank you.
Stay with us for more episodes. And somebody that would also, go in that line of thought for now is the son of Glasscast. We call him the son for obvious reasons. Oscar, what do you want to say to our
I don't have much to say than to express my heartfelt gratitude and sincere thanks to our followers. And I encourage them to stay tuned this evening, sit back and enjoy. It's going to be interesting, entertaining, and explosive discussion this evening as usual. Once I'm paired with Maz, it's always entertaining. And I hope we're not going to disappoint you this evening.
I hope we are not going to disappoint you. And you that has been following up with our discussions, I don't want to mention names now, but in the next episode, we'll begin to mention names of your, people that are contributing in our comment sections. And we value your comments, we value your engagement, and we want to encourage you to continue to do that. So I know I'm talking about you especially, but I will mention your name soon. And continue to be with us. And like I would always say, if you want your cup of coffee, I have mine here, and a bottle of drink or a cup of drink, your popcorn, bring it close, because this discussion this evening is going to be intriguing, because we have the men in the house who would give you evidence-based, resource-based, critical-based analysis based on the topic we have today. Mazi, without going too far, it looks like since Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been imprisoned by Justice Omotojo, it looks like it kind of soft-pedaled the activities of IPOB in recent times.
No, we have indeed been very, very active. On the 30th of May, IPOB all over the world held rallies in commemoration of our fallen heroes who died during the Biafran War. Before that, there was a rally as well organized by IPOB. In fact, as I'm talking to you today, generally in the UK, is the annual general meeting of IPOB. As we are talking, it's going on now. The case of legal case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu specifically is still ongoing. You know that when you file an appeal, you need to give it time in order for the judge to set the date, in order for briefs to be exchanged between the parties. So this is the time that the judge, the various parties rather, is waiting in order for those exchanges to happen, so that the date is set for the main case to be heard. But all over the world, IPOB is still buzzing, getting said, because the struggle for the restoration of the sovereign state of Biafra is a lifetime struggle. It is not something that you can ever apply a pause on. It is an activity, a movement, a struggle that we have dedicated our lives for. So there is no going back, there is no break, there is no pause. If there is anything, I will call it strategic moves in order to make sure that while we are pursuing the struggle, that we end up releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay, why I asked this question is because it was beginning to look like things are happening in a fast-paced environment. Being like, for example, in Nigeria, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in prison. Nigeria is preparing for a general election in the next maybe 7 months or so. And, you know, in previous time, you would see IPOB coming out actively to tell you what is their position in the Nigerian forthcoming election, like they did in 2019, like they did in 2023, and all the time. But it looks like things are a bit quiet.
No, Doctor, let me take you a little back and respond to what Mazi Ikenna said. You know, I'm taken aback a bit.
Yeah.
When you said the activities of IPOB is still going on all over the world and so on, and you are still hoping to use that platform to actualize the sovereign state of Biafra. I am not against agitation for self-determination or self-independence. The Scotland where I live in, they are still agitating. They had a referendum a few years back, and they are still is one of the primary items in the manifesto of Scottish National Party, SNP.
Yeah.
So it's legal everywhere for as long as you are doing it the right way, the legal way. So but I'm still surprised that you think that a proscribed organization, IPOB, is the mechanism or the machinery or the instrument through which you are going to actualize that sovereignty for Biafra. There is no doubt IPOB is prescribed in Nigeria. You can be doing the activities in the UK, you can be doing it in England, you can be doing it in America, in Germany, France. But how are you going to bring it home? How are you going to use an organization or an instrument that was prescribed in your home country to achieve what you want in your home country? SNP that is agitating for independence in Scotland is a party, registered. They have MPs in Westminster. Is that not correct?
Yeah.
They send representatives there, and they are using a legal means to, further this agenda of Scottish independence. But I'm surprised, and I don't know how else to put it, that we are still relying on a prescribed organization to achieve what we want. You probably want to tell me as a one Nigerian. Fortunately, I can't change that. But I'm being legal, I'm being honest, and I'm being practical on what is possible and what is not possible. For as long as this organization is prescribed in Nigeria, it doesn't look like that ban or prescription is going to be lifted anytime soon with the way things are going.
I think I will respond to that. And my response is...
You have the floor.
You know that Nigeria is a lawless society. And sometimes it surprises me that when it comes to IPOB, suddenly Nigeria becomes a lawful society. So when Nigeria, through ex parte motion, bans IPOB, by ex parte motion, I mean a motion you go to court to acquire without the other party being present. So you ban IPOB, and all of us know that from the history of Nigeria, Nigeria is set up in such a manner that the hands that set it up want it to remain as the artificial entity that they set up. The activities of IPOB is contrary to that quest that Nigeria wants, to that set up by the colonial masters by the northern oligarchs, by the Fulani Caliphate. So if Nigeria bans IPOB, that means that Nigeria doesn't want anything to interfere with its state as it is created. So when you want to dismiss the struggle that IPOB is involved in, remember what IPOB means, indigenous people of Biafra. You cannot ban a people. But when you want to dismiss the struggle that IPOB is involved in by telling us that a lawless country like Nigeria will go to go through an ex parte motion and they ban the activities of IPOB, as a result, IPOB should suspend its movement, or if you don't say suspend, the activities of IPOB should not be recognized as that which will lead to the actualization of a sovereign state of Biafra. I think you are missing the point there. And to be honest with you, in law, there is something we call de facto and de jure. Yes, you have achieved what you have achieved through the Nigerian cause, de jure. But still, what matters in law, whether it is local or international, is de facto. What is happening on the ground? That is what everybody knows. What is happening on the ground is that IPOB is buzzing. IPOB is in control. IPOB is the one in charge of the activities of Igbo in Nigeria. If you doubt me, release Mazen Nnamdi Kanu today. You will see that the reason why every governor in Nigeria, in the southeast, is making sure that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, and I'm telling you this with the exception of Oti, Governor Oti, I know that every governor in the southeast and possibly some governors in the south do not want Mazen Nnamdi Kanu to be released. Why? Because when Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is released, it will lead to the removal of those governors who are not performing in Nigeria. Definitely. It is one of the major things that will...
Oh, finish, sorry.
That is one of the major things that will happen. So Nigeria is doing everything possible as a country that is not working to prevent IPOB from leading to the actualization of a sovereign state of Biafra, which is a state that is going to work.
A state that is going to work. I want to come to you, the elder, here, because you said because IPOB has been proscribed internally. If we use the term used by Mazi, the de facto and the de jure, and look, I think, I don't know, some people might say, Elder, maybe you are sounding a bit uninformed in this process, because when you look at what is happening elsewhere, yes, you have given example of the SNP in Scotland, but when you're looking at what has happened elsewhere, especially countries that have been able to resolve some internal political crisis, like in the era of apartheid in South Africa, and the creation of Eritrea as a country and South Sudan, you could see that there were large oppression and suppression of nationalist movement within those regions. But what happened outside influenced most of the decisions that were taken in those areas. Did you put those things into consideration?
What do you mean what happened outside? Like what?
I mean, for example, like in the case of South Sudan, in the case of Eritrea, it was the pressure from the outside. So the government within those places were suppressing the movement, but the oppressions outside the shores of this country got them the independence they were looking for.
Dr. Eze, you cannot base any agitation on illegality. You cannot base anything you want to do on illegal activity. You cannot want to have independence based on activity, based on crime, based on the crime that you commit, based on the activities that you perpetrate that are against the laws of the land. So when you talk about the pressure from outside, when you do that pressure, somebody internal would have to coordinate it. Somebody internal will have to crystallize it back home. And when that system is not in place, and when that system has been prescribed, what is going to happen?
I know Mazu would want to respond here, but I want to, because we need to clarify something. Remember, our viewers and our subscribers and followers, sometimes when we use sometimes we need to clarify for their understanding. When you say illegality, when you say criminal activity, how do you criminalize the right of the people that this is what they are asking for? Can you expand more on this?
Dr. Eze, at the simplest form of it, I am a lawyer. And once court gives its judgment, that stance becomes the valid judgment until it is set aside on appeal. And from the beginning, Mazi mentioned that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case is on appeal. For now, he remains convicted, rightly or wrongly. I will not go and fold my sleeves and fight the judge or fight. There are legal ways to overturn a judgment that you do not agree with. And I cannot stay on this podcast and tell people, get up with your matches, get up with your cutlass, and go to the court and fight. The legal process has to be followed. When they get to the Supreme Court and that is overturned, that's the highest court in Nigeria, I will come back here and say, this man is clean. He's not a criminal. He has no conviction against it. But for now, I'm telling you what the court has done and what the law of the society is. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I remain by the position of the law. You may or may not agree with the judgment of the court. I have sat in this platform several occasions, condemned activities of government, things that are not working, institutions that are collapsing, things that are going in the wrong way, severally. You can't accuse me of that. But for the fact that a court of competent jurisdiction has delivered a judgment on a subject matter, who am I to go and start fighting it, to start calling press conference, to condemn that judgment, where there is a proper legal process to challenge it, to challenge the system, whether you like it or not, you belong to that society.
But I know,
let me finish. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been in prison. Somebody can get up in that prison and say, because I don't like your face, and kill you. I won't support that. He has the right to life, you know. And even though he's been sentenced to prison, he still has rights which should be accorded to him, which I will stand and defend. You cannot deny him the right of appeal, except he has run out of time to make that appeal. So I will stand here to defend him. But I will not stand here to fuel chaos and fuel anarchy. I will not.
As a lawyer, how would you attribute those human rights to certain rights which are inalienable, especially the right to self-determination? Is how do you corroborate this right together? Because my understanding of the right to self-determination is not under any jurisdiction of any court. Do you want to quote me wrong on that? Yeah.
What he was convicted upon is in his quest for for his pursuit of his right to self-determination. He committed certain crimes, which he was tried upon and charged.
Yeah, but that is Nnamdi Kanu. But the position of the IPOB.
No.
I'm belonging to a prescribed.
For the position of IPOB, if they do their agitation legally and lawfully, I don't have a problem with that. What I wouldn't support is illegality. I'm giving you an example of a Scottish Parliament, or Scottish National Party. If you go to Canada, in the Quebec province, they don't send representatives to the center, to where is their capital, Ontario. They don't do that. They are agitating. They form a political party. There's the French-speaking part of Canada. They always agitate. They want independence. They want to be separated. That is why when you go to Canada, every official document is written in English and in French in recognition of them, even though they have not gotten that independence and they have not given up. And their association and their party is not prescribed in Canada. So,
but Nigeria is suppressing IPOB.
Well, when you are fighting, they use everything. When you fight, you use everything. There is so what's said in my community that when people want to fight, they don't first of all dress the ground. They can throw you on a hard stone, but that fight has to be legal. That's my point.
So, in other words, what he's saying is that IPOB being proscribed by Nigeria, the activities is illegal. As a result, we are not fighting from Nigeria, or we are not agitating from Nigeria. But there is something that I think is lacking. IPOB have maintained that Nigeria has no interest in governing its subjects well. As a result, Nigeria has no interest in granting IPOB a separate state. Power is taken, it's never given. So what IPOB wants is to make sure that it takes power from Nigeria through self-determination. But look at the contradiction there on the side of Nigeria. Nigeria banned IPOB, described it as a terrorist organization. Mm-hmm. and Nigeria convicted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. In line with that, now, in the structure of IPOB, we have the governing heart of IPOB, which is the Directorate of State. The head of the Directorate of State is Mazi Chika Edoziem. Mazi Chika Edoziem was declared a terrorist by Nigeria as the head of the Directorate of State. Mazi Chika Edoziem was declared a wanted person by Nigeria, by the Nigerian Armed Forces. Do you know that February this year, in the same court, Mazi Chika Edoziem defeated Nigeria?
No, Mazi, it doesn't. You can't be charged. It's not everybody that's charged in court that's convicted.
Let me lay it well so that you understand the contradiction that Nigeria practices. How can Nigeria, that convicted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for belonging to a terrorist organization,
so-called,
fail to convict Mazi Chika Edoziem for belonging to the same organization that Mazi Chika Edoziem heads his governing body?
Mazi, do you know how many charges that were preferred against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu?
Yes, I know.
How many?
He was convicted on, I think, 7.
7.
Yes.
Okay, not only on 1.
No.
Belonging to a terrorist organization is one of them.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know, you are a lawyer. We are comrades. Is that not true?
Yes.
Good. So you know this thing as much as I do. Somebody can commit a crime. If you do not have sufficient evidence to establish the crime, the person might go free. He may have actually committed that crime. So that because Edoziem was not convicted, then you will now relate it to the conviction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
I don't think it follows.
So, but it is clear that Mazi Chika Edoziem is the head of the governing body of IPO.
And this Chika Edoziem you are mentioning, I don't know him. I'm just hearing him for the first time. So, to be told. so that will tell you all you need to know of his activities, whether he has gone to that level of having committed a crime that has sufficient evidence to be convicted.
Elder, I want to take you on something. You made mention of
doctors. It looks like you're not being neutral in this. You are taking sides.
Well, my job here today is to ask questions.
I think you are not being fair. But go ahead.
The questions I'm asking today, I'm not taking any position. The questions I'm asking today are the questions. If you go to our comment section,
yeah,
these are the questions that have been raised there. So I have been following up on the comment sections, and I promised them that I will come in here
and ask those questions.
So my followers, you know what we are talking about. If you have been commenting on the comment section, if you have been engaging in these discussions, you know that the questions I'm asking here are coming directly from you. Don't hesitate in sending us more questions so that I will throw it here. But I want to take Elder on this, whether he's feeling that I'm taking it personal or I'm not taking it personal. But when it involves my followers, I will take it personal. So you made mention of Canada.
Yep.
And the way the French-speaking and the English-speaking part of Canada have organized themselves. And that brings me to the topic. You know, we've been talking all this while and we haven't touched on the topic of today.
Okay.
The way those territories or provinces in Canada operate is based on agreement. Now, in the case of Biafra, in 1967, early 1967, I think it was in January, there was the Aburi Accord.
Okay.
And if you look at the contents of the Aburi Accord, it's almost a kind of replica of what we are seeing in Canada today, of what we are seeing in the United Kingdom today, in the case of Scotland that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Why is it that today we keep mentioning the Aburi Accord? And I know Mazi would want to throw more light on the Aburi Accord. We keep mentioning Aburi Accord and the Aburi Accord, but every content of that agreement have never been implemented.
Okay, it comes down to what I've been saying, shouting from the rooftop, that the problem Nigeria has is problem of leadership and the people there, both southeast, south-south, southwest, northeast, north central, or whatever. It's the people there who are running the affairs of the things. If you recall, when we transited into democracy, what they call it the Third Republic in 1999, APGA, APGA, All People's Grand Alliance, right, is a very strong party in the Southeast. Is that not true?
Yes.
If you go to the Southwest, then we have AD, Alliance for Democracy. It's a very strong party. It was a very strong party in the Southwest.
Some people will dispute the case of APGA anyway.
Well, APGA was a very strong party. Peter Obi, who is a very popular candidate now, ruled the Anambra State on that.
APGA, if when you compare APGA to AD was in 5 southwestern states.
Yeah.
APGA has only been successful in 1 state in the southeast.
Good, but it's a very popular party. It was a very popular party.
In 1 state.
In 1 state, whatever it is.
Okay.
Which state was that?
Anambra State.
Anambra State. Rochas
Okorocha
became the governor in Imo State. His first time under APGA. So
and
but if you know that he moved to PDP after that.
After winning it, he moved.
He moved.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you is that what is replicated in Canada, in Scotland, can be replicated in Nigeria if we are serious of what we are doing, with what we are doing. But people are only interested in grabbing political power. Even this Biafra we are talking about, mark it somewhere that these people are only interested. The APGA was touted to be a Biafra party then. Those people capitalized on that opportunity, rode to power, and the rest is history. So it's not a case of naming the IPOB. It has to be IPOB for us to achieve what we want. It has to be MASOB to achieve what we want. There are legal ways that you can get to all these things that what we want. If we have a strong governance, strong leadership in the Southeast, in the Southeastern states, I think the federal government will be the one to come to be negotiating with us. There's something that they say. You don't go about chasing butterfly. If you make your garden beautiful, butterflies will come to your garden. We have not made Southeast beautiful. We have not made Southeast. We don't have any negotiating power, any negotiating capacity. We don't have that strategy. We have not built that capacity. That's upper hand to go and negotiate for distance. But we want it to be given to us. We don't have this IPOB that we're talking about. We don't have a proper strategy. IPOB has no manifesto on ground. If I take you on what is the manifesto of IPOB now, you probably tell me that you come back
Maybe
to me on that.
Maybe you need to be a member.
No, you don't have to. You know the manifesto of Labour Party in the UK. You're a member of Labour Party. The other day, interviewed Scottish, what's the name of that party?
Scottish Common Party.
Scottish Common Party. You know their manifesto. Are you a member of Scottish Common Party? Reform, I know you know their manifesto. Are you a member of Reform? I don't need to be any. I know the manifesto of Republican Party and Democratic Party in America. I don't belong to any of them.
But there is a fundamental misunderstanding here. IPOB is not a political party. So it doesn't need to have a manifesto. IPOB has a code of conduct, and its aim is simple: to actualize a sovereign state of Biafra through self-determination. It is not a political party that you will expect it to give you a manifesto. No movement that is dedicated to the actualization of self-determination for its people has a manifesto. Well, if it is a political party, then you know that movement will fail. And to address something that my colleague said, IPOB, you don't know much about IPOB. Why? Because you are not a member of IPOB. But I believe that if you ask questions and bring out time to look into IPOB, you will find out that it has a strong and formidable structure. That structure is what most of the people don't know. The only thing that they know is IPOB. But they don't know that there is a structure there that has led to IPOB being expanded, being solid, being governed up until this moment. So, personally, I think that you should, people actually who criticize IPOB the way I think that my colleague is doing should devote more time towards paying attention to what IPOB is all about and the structure. But the last comment that I want to make about what he said is that you have to make your garden so that butterflies will come. Bear in mind that in Imo State, for instance, the people did not choose the governor. The governor was imposed on them. So when the people say, we don't want you, Nigeria is such a state that it doesn't allow the people to express their will. It doesn't. So when the people came out and chose a governor that wasn't, what's his name? What's the
Hope
Uzodimma. What happened? Hope Uzodimma came third or fourth even. He came fourth. And all of a sudden, Hope Uzodimma became the winner. So Nigeria controls the southeast. So it doesn't allow the will of the people to happen. Let me ask you something. This self-determination, if it is not IPOB, how are we going to achieve it? Because Nigeria will not allow you to achieve self-determination because already it has told you that Nigeria is indestructible. Is that not so? Now, if you check the constitution of Nigeria, you will see that now Nigeria is, what do you call it? Nigeria ratified the African Charter of Human and People's Rights. In the African Charter of Human and People's Rights, it is expressly stated there, I think under section 20, that every person, every people have a right to self-determination. So if by implication, ratifying that charter means that you are granting your people the right to self-determination, what it means is that you cannot, as well as at the same time of granting your people the right to self-determination, tell them that Nigeria is indestructible. It's a contradiction. As far as I am
respond to this.
If you want to respond, you respond. But as far as I am concerned, that word indestructible is absolutely rubbish. In as much as we are concerned, the indigenous people of Biafra, we will continue to fight for the right to self-determination to be given to us through referendum.
Mazi,
yes,
you mentioned indestructible, indivisible, yes, and indissoluble entity in the section of the Constitution. That's in the Constitution. Yes. Have you heard of constitutional amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Say what you want to say.
What do you mean by I want?
You are saying that it's impossible to divide Nigeria. But I'm telling you, that section of the Constitution can be amended. That's why I said constitutional amendment. If that section is amended to usher in...
No, the point that I'm trying to make, the point that I'm trying to make is that it doesn't make sense for you to say that in as much as this constitution is concerned, that we are accepting the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which granted people the right to self-determination. At the same time, you turn around and say that you are indivisible.
I just want to come in here because you made mention of constitutional amendment. Yeah. We know how constitutional amendment has been happening in Nigeria. Yeah. The constitutional amendment started by...
I thought you want to ask me a question.
Yeah, I will ask a question. In fact, I've not even touched on the topic that our followers have asked me to come and introduce here. After saying this, I will ask the question. Now, the constitutional amendment that was started under the Senate presidency of David Mark and Ike Ekweremadu is still ongoing up to today with billions of naira spent. In fact, Ike Ekweremadu has gone to prison in the UK, and I believe very soon he will come out, and that constitutional amendment will continue to be there as a long process with money being spent every day in the National Assembly. So we know how constitutional amendment happens in Nigeria. And in the case of Hope Uzodimma, yes, got his first tenure through the court, but Hope Uzodimma has put his popularity to test through popular votes, and he also emerged as a governor and duly elected by the people. So they may want to dispute your position. By the way, the topic that our subscribers have asked us to discuss today is on the Aburi Accord. And I want to put this question. I know Elder wants to say something, but I want to put this question to Mazi. So, based on the Aburi Accord, the regional autonomy, decentralization of the military, veto power, collective responsibility, federal appointment, and renunciation of force, as against what was breeding in Nigeria then. Do you think that if that Aburi Accord is revisited today, and some of the contents of the agreement are being implemented, that IPOB will continue to agitate for the self-determination or self-actualization of the Biafra struggle?
This is a very good question. Why I say it's a very good question is because that is a question that obviously will be ringing in the minds of people. First and foremost, Aburi Accord is a perfect example of the actions taken by Ndi Igbo and other ethnic groups of Biafra towards keeping Nigeria as one. That's a fact we should all know. Nigeria has never paid attention towards those actions that the Igbos and other ethnic groups within Biafra took to maintain Nigeria. If we look at the contents of that Aburi Accord that you've just listed, it made mention about area commands, dividing the army to make sure that the regions control their
decentralization of the military.
Exactly. It made mention, even Ojukwu said that it made mention about revenue sharing formula as well.
To regional autonomy.
Regional autonomy. This is to show you that it's still you can't share revenue with another country. This is to show you that he still recognized Nigeria as one. You understand? So, as far as I am concerned, the time for Aburi Accord is gone. There is absolutely no way that Ndi Igbo and the other ethnic groups within Biafra that wanted to keep Nigeria as one and agreed to Aburi Accord. An accord is an agreement. We agreed to it, and you did not honor it. And you ended up killing 3 to 5 million of us. And then you want us to go back to Aburi Accord. I'm sorry, there's nothing like Aburi. Aburi is gone. What we want is a sovereign state of Biafra. Nigeria is not working, and Nigeria has never worked since its creation. Right from the moment that Nigeria was created. Okay, look, let us look at the aggression that they have given to Ndi Igbo, Southeasterners and Biafrans. From the moment Enahoro passed the motion for independence in 1957, right?
Yep.
That the emotion that was amended by the North, Ahmadu Bello, by saying as soon as practicable. From that moment, Enahoro is not an Igbo man. He's not a Biafran. It was in Lagos that thing happened. When the North came out, they were jeered for not wanting Nigeria to be independent as quickly as possible in 1957. When they were jeered, they went back to the North. Akintola and his group, who were the Yorubas, went to apologize for what they did to the North. When they came to Lagos, what happened in the North there? They were killing. Who did they kill? Ndi Igbo. Can you tell me what concerns Ndi Igbo with that? People do not know that yes, Biafra broke out of Nigeria, but people do not know that what actually led to Biafra breaking out was the crisis in the western part of Nigeria, southwest. It was the crisis between Akintola and Awolowo. That was the major thing that gradually led to the coup that happened in January 1966, and then that led to the counter coup and Nigeria breaking out. So at the end of the day, what happened? Hundreds of thousands were killed. This was before the Civil War. Hundreds of thousands of Ndi Igbo were killed both in the north and in the southwest. Even
if they whatever was the issue
didn't concern them.
They were not part of.
At the end of the, in as much as you look like an Igbo person, whether even you are an Igbo person or Ibibio or Efik, you'll be killed.
Or
so
Ijo.
Yes, or Ijo, you'll be unalived. So why should we then go back to Aburi that we have made effort to keep Nigeria as one? Okay, the problems, it is clear to all of us that the problem that bedeviled Nigeria before Aburi, during Aburi, is still the problems up to today. So when they didn't implement Aburi, Honor Aburi, up to this moment, how many years has gone since the Civil War? I mean, since 1967 to 1970. This is 2026. Up to now, we are talking of implementing Aburi. That boss has passed. We are no longer interested in Aburi. What we are interested in is the separation of the southeast from Nigeria, the whole of the area called Biafra from Nigeria. That's what we are interested in. And if you do that, you will realize that there will be an economic, cultural, and social growth of that area.
Dr. You are looking very surprised at his answer. I've sat with him so closely and multiple times that I'm not surprised with his answer. You want Biafra, total separation, disintegration from Nigeria. That's how is your position. Let's go back when we're talking about the Apuga and so on, and when you said the Hope Uzodimma was a subversion of the will of the people. Is that your position?
Yes.
Okay. Imo State is just one out of the 5 southeastern states. We have Abia states. We have Ebonyi, we have Anambra, we have Enugu State, including Imo State. Those other 5 states, we are their subversion of the will of the people by the Supreme Court. The answer is no. Those people were voted by people, and we know their performance.
Was it a fair and fair election in all of them?
Whether free or okay, it was a fraudulent and rigged election. But the people that we are rigged into, are they not Igbos? Are they not Biafrans? Hope Uzodimma, is his father Chifoniti? I'm referring to the other one who said they to go for like a pure woman. Hope Uzodimma, does he not look like a pure Igbo man to you? Yes or no? Does his lips look like
like you from India?
Does his lips look like I'm from Imo State? I know how the lips of Imo State look like. Does his lips not look like a pure Imo State man? The man in Enugu, from Ojus Okalo to Theodoji to Okezi Ikpeazu, we saw their performance in Abia State. Their lips, does it not look like a typical Abia people? Yes or no?
But they might be slaves of the country.
No. I want to ask you whether they're slaves or what I'm asking, are they pure Abians? In the instance of 5th, are they Biafrans?
They are.
Good. So what is their performance there? The man in Enugu State, starting from Chimaroke Mbadinojo. Chimaroke was, is it
Chimaroke
Nnamani? Is Anambra State?
Yeah.
No, Nnamani was Enugu State. Who did he hand over again? Sullivan Chime. Yeah. From Sullivan Chime to who again? Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. From Ugwuanyi to Mba. Is it Mba? Good. Are they not Biafrans? Let me not say, are they not from Anambra State? I don't know Biafrans. In your classification of those who should form this Biafra, what are they doing in Anambra State? Go to Enugu State. They're Umahi. Ebonyi. From Elechi to
Egu.
From Egu to Umahi. From Umahi to the present one now. Those people are mentioning their lives. Are they not pure Ebonyi people? Are they not Biafrans? What are they doing? What do they have to show for it? Those ones is that the subversion of the will of the people? Even if it is that people, the election was rigged and overturned in their favor, are they not supposed to work for their people?
Even when we are talking about Biafra, you should also account for present day Bayelsa, present day Delta, Rivers.
So these people, when you talk about that, Biafra is the ultimate, or the ultimate, the once we get it, everything is fine. We have people who are in position of authority. The governors are the chief executives of the states. Like this government,
you are coming back to what Mazi is saying, that Nigeria is not working.
It's not working. We are contributing to it. The Southeast, the governors who are the chief executive. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, can hate this government for whatever you want. At the end of the month, those state governments, they get their allocation. Is that not true? What do they would do with it? How would have they improved the lives of the people?
But who pays the piper?
No, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
Why is it that any little thing, the governors are running to the presidency?
No, because they don't have initiative. They don't know how to create. They don't know how to govern. Yeah,
you think so?
They don't have that initiative. They are not properly. They are not ready to govern. They are ready. They are out to steal money.
Yeah, why not transfer to the people in the state instead of going to the presidency? Because any little thing, you are talking of Hope Uzodinma, you are talking of you are talking of any little thing. They are in Abuja.
What are they doing in Abuja?
Because he who pays the piper.
No, that thing is constitutional. That thing is the allocation they receive, statutory allocation. When it says statutory, it's written in the law.
No, but
they need to travel to Abuja.
To tell you the incompetence in them.
Yeah, but when the governor of Rivers State refused to go to Aso Rock, our dear president threatened to withhold Rivers allocation because he wasn't agreeing with his people. So it still tells you that
let me give you an example. When this current president was the governor of Lagos State, his allocation was withheld. He never went to Abuja. Were you aware of it?
When the unique position.
No. If you are ready to agitate, if you are ready to fight for something, you will have to be ready to die for it.
Yeah, but he couldn't have done it if he was in Ekiti State or Osun State.
Yeah.
No,
he could only do it because it was Lagos.
Because it was Lagos.
At least he showed some. If we are somebody who wants to koto, who wants to bow, no matter how unique Lagos situation is, he will go to Abuja.
Myself and yourself, we are in Lagos when that thing happened.
Yeah.
You know very well that in Lagos they could almost hold you the way they will hold you on the street to take money off your pocket.
Yes, they could, but he didn't go to Abuja.
Yeah, but he was squeezing people.
I'm telling you what.
And the people that we are squeezing are Igbo people.
He stood his ground.
Yeah. Because he knows he could generate income through another means.
Yeah. He was squeezing the Igbo people.
Nobody has even threatened to seize the allocation. All these 5 cents governors we're talking about. Has the federal government even threatened to withhold the allocation?
But here we are saying that he who pays the piper dictates the tone of the music.
They have not even had any encounter with the federal government to make them to go and bow to them. They willingly on their own submitted to go and bow every month. Hope Uzodinma goes to Abuja to wave Tinubu when he's going for his medical treatment in France. Have you not seen?
He even lives there.
He lives there. So why is he going there? He wants to go to. Have you not seen videos where they will go and line beside the red carpet where the president will be climbing his private jets? Hope Uzodinma will be waving to him.
Nigeria is finished.
While we are talking about this, Nigeria is going to election, very soon, in January next year, thereabout. And our dear President Tinubu, has been doing some reforms that would make sure that everybody is accommodated in Nigeria. For example, he has asked the INEC chairman to ensure that every process is taken to ensure that elections are free and fair. And he has set in the motion for state police. And I know police was not what was contained in the Aburi Accord, but it was actually the military. But in this case, he's taking a step towards ensuring that every Nigerian is accommodated. Is it not fair, based from what the elder has said, that we should stay in Nigeria, every Nigerians, whether Arewa, whether Oduduwa, whether Biafra, whether, wherever, let's stay in Nigeria and find a way to make Nigeria work?
Why should we do that? First and foremost, Nigeria, even the word Nigeria was not chosen by us. So why should we stay in a country? We never chose the boundaries of that country. As at the time the states were created, we never even chose it. And in 1967, Gowon said, I'm going to create states in order to divide them. That's what he said.
And he did.
And he did. So even the states that we have, it wasn't created with our consent. And that is why some of the local communities within the states, we are so divided that you see the same like in Ndoke. There is Ndoke in Abia State. There is Ndoke in Rivers State. These are brothers and sisters separated by Gowon. So why should we relax to say, let us live together? In fact, when I remember that there was a time Awolowo insisted that in the constitution should be included the right to secede. Ahmadu Bello agreed to that. It was our Zik who did not agree. And they indirectly, obviously without knowing, doing what the colonial masters wanted for the artificial entity called Nigeria to remain one. I weep for it. Because at the end of the day, there is no way you will be in a country or together in an entity that you never consented to be in the first place. You can't force us to be in an unwanted marriage.
We don't want to stay. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What is the level of cooperation and unity between the 5 southeastern states?
The level of cooperation and unity.
Yes, between them.
The level of cooperation and unity is as determined by the federal government.
No.
Yes.
As you are here now, the society doesn't even want you to live with your wife and children. You agree with me? Yes.
Don't want me to
yeah. They, at every opportunity, they want to separate you people. The society.
Even in the UK.
In the UK.
Or in the Western world.
I completely agree with you. Even in the law, I know that, especially during the time of David Cameron, and that law that they put in place is still subsisting up till now, that when you are living together as husband and wife, a partner, in marriage, you even have certain tax benefits, which is an encouragement for you to live together.
What you see practically out there is it doesn't encourage. You mentioned the juro and de facto.
Yeah.
What you see practically is very easy to separate families here. Husband, wives, divorce. It's very easy to get divorced here.
Yeah, it is easy. Yes.
Good. Does that sound like it's encouraging unity? The answer is no. So if the society is doing everything to make sure that you don't live with your wife. In fact, there is no fourth divorce now. Is that not correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Good. That a wife can get up and go and say, you know what, I'm not marrying again. Oh, let's go. And the court will grant that. They are working hard to separate families. But reasonable families are working hard to stay together. Yeah. Southeast has not shown the governors shown any sign of cooperation, any sign of working together, any sign of collaboration whatsoever.
They will never show it.
No, even when the federal government is working hard to separate them. That's why I gave you the analysis that even when society is working hard to separate families, reasonable families are working hard to stay together. Yeah.
Can I ask you one question?
Please go do.
Why do you think the colonial masters use indirect rule to govern us? Why do you think that they created warrant chiefs?
Why they use indirect rule to govern Nigeria is because that is the system of government that we are used to in the southeast. If you go to the north, they have a more centralized system where they can appoint one person who would, do that for them.
They also use indirect rule there, but in the southeast they use those that they called warrant chiefs. Why do you think that they use them?
I've explained to you, except if there's any other thing you want me to say.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that they use them because they were those who were subservient to them.
Those warrant chiefs, are they still alive now?
Those warrant chiefs.
Yeah, are they still alive?
Yes, they are alive in the nature of the government. That's why I call them.
Good. They are alive in the nature of the government. They are alive in the nature of the governors. Then, in my place, that's what we said. One person had a son. I called the son Mo Neme. Mo Sinakema Neme Weaka. So the thing is that the federal is working hard to divide us, and we have submitted ourselves to that division. We are not making any effort to unite or to collaborate whatsoever, and we are blaming people. As we are now, whether you like it or not, you are competing with me. I'm competing with you, and you don't want me to defeat you. We are friends. We can compete healthily. So, but you don't want to you don't want to let yourself out.
You would agree with me that if we sit here to continue to look into this subject, it will take us longer and longer. But it has been an interesting conversation. You would agree with me, and I believe what we have discussed here today would bring in more areas for further discussions. You asked question about the Aburi Accord. We brought it here. We've looked into it. Even though Mazi thinks that it's a thing of the past, Elder still believes that we can learn from history and we can make changes based on what we have learned. There is another question that we need to address. The Ahera Declaration. Why we are addressing all these areas in relation to the agitation for self-determination by the indigenous people of Biafra is to see where we can learn lessons. What are the contents of these agreements? What can we learn from them? Where are we today? And where do we hope to be? Until we come back to you again, we encourage you to continue to engage. Send us your comments and be nice, don't be rude. Send your comments and we would address them. We will bring them here. If there is any need to bring anybody to discuss some of these subjects, we would welcome you to send us those comments. I will bring whomever we need to bring in here. And I would always encourage some of us that are wanting to come to discuss with us. You are encouraged to come. You can visit us to our studio, or you can join us virtually wherever you are. If you are in Australia, you are in India, you are in South Africa, you are in Finland, you are in the United States of America or Germany or wherever we are. You are in Nigeria. You can join us in this studio virtually and we can have a constructive conversation. But before we see you again, I will leave you with this. Humanity is what we should always spend all we have to protect. Love one another and treat everyone as humans. We are all from the same God, irrespective of how we look, our color, our language, our culture. We shall one day go back to God Almighty. Thank you for being with us, and we'll have you in the next episode. Bye for now.